Hey, what's going on? Textboy here, back with another video. Today I'm joined by and
Hi.
and today we're going to be showcasing the Gulfstream G650ER. So today I'm joined with Blue Flame Wizard
Hi.
and Gamer Pigs.
Hmm.
Yep. So here we have the Gulfstream G650ER, which is the extended range variant of the Gulfstream G650.
They just strapped fuel tanks onto it.
Yeah, they just strapped them on the sides. You know how it is. It's a business jet.
2-to-1 scale.
2-to-1 scale,
Not
yeah.
2-to-1. Yeah? Yeah, 2-to-1 scale.
Top speed of Mach 0.925. 7,500 nautical miles is the range. 4 living areas. So let's get on with it. Here we have the nose of the aircraft. This nose, Mateo, Miles, a whole load of people helped with this Gulfstream, so that's cool. Here we have the nose. We have the landing, like, sensor thing right there. That's pretty cool. Torpedo tubes, some buttons and stuff. Here's the landing gear. Here's the wheel. Yep. Here's an antenna. Here is the door, and since Gulfstream has very nice ovals are circulars. Ovular windows. We just made them 1.5 blocks wide because we can. Here's the wing. Here's a nav light. Mateo is typing.
Don't forget the amazing Rolls-Royce engines on these planes.
Engines. Yes.
The long, humongous wingspan.
Nice.
Which makes it achieves those surface altitudes of
51,000 feet.
51,000 feet.
Yep, here are some lights. Here's the gear. Here's the gear door. Beacon light. Cargo door. Mateo is typing. Talking about perms like he always is. Horizontal stabilizers.
It's why we have our own quad.
Yep. We have that thing there. I don't know what that is. It's like an APU thing. Now, emergency exit doors. Now, let's yeah, let's move on to the interior. So here we have the flight deck with the nice, beautiful, and amazing symmetry flight deck.
Absolutely incredible. Someone in this call does not approve of the symmetry flight deck and its overhead panel.
Yep.
I don't.
Here we have the galley section here. I think there's a lavatory somewhere. Who even knows?
Over here.
It's all the way in the back.
No, I thought there was another one up here, but oh well.
I don't think so. I think it's in the master bedroom.
Blue is sitting on the floor. Here we have some meeting tables. We have a nice couch, TV, emergency exit doors, some more meeting rooms, and Mateo sitting on the floor. We have another couch. We have the I don't know, like a little
TV and this is the master bedroom area.
Yep. So this can be turned into a bed or whatever you want.
Where's the crew rest area on this aircraft?
That's a good question. Here this would be a lab, but it is not. And here we have the cargo area. So now let's move on to the liveries. And I'm at the global. Nice. Here we have the house livery made by a whole lot of people. I think Mateo made the base livery and then I added on to it and put all the Gulfstream logos and everything on it.
Yeah.
So we won't be going through the interior on every one of them because they are the exact same.
We don't have the resources to figure out what configs all of them were in.
Yep. So that's cool. Registration is... There is no registration on here. The registration is November 650 Golf Foxtrot. It says it on the... it says G650ER on the tail right here. and it says Gulfstream right there, and then some like eco-friendly logo. I have no clue. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have November 682 Golf Delta, which when the photo was taken, from what we saw, is in the bare metal livery. So,
Factory.
yep, it says you'd expect bare metal, nothing painted. Pylons are not painted. Wings. Yeah. So the next, so all the liveries you'll be seeing, we have what? How many liveries do we have?
67.
67 liveries. So we did go all out, but we didn't make every G650ER livery. There is.
That would be hundreds.
There were some.
That would be in the 300 territory of liveries. So we're not gonna do that.
Probably a
There were-
large majority of them are copy and paste liveries that have different registrations.
And we do have a couple copy and paste liveries in here, but shut up. So first up, we have November 194 Whiskey Mike, which is owned by Bill Gates. So that's pretty cool. Brown. Yeah. Brown lining and then like a tan or color. And we are utilizing the Aeroteam 2.6 texture pack.
Yeah.
But by the time this video comes out, the server should be opening up in a couple days, and the 2.0 pack should be available. But don't knock on me for that. So, yeah. Brown lining on the fuselage, on the winglets, and yeah. Here we have November 887 Whiskey Mike, also owned by Bill Gates. It's literally the exact same.
So next up we have November 628 Tango Sierra. This is owned by Elon Musk. Basically, you have these thin. He has most of it. It's a very blank livery. He just has a thin lines leading to the empennage, nose section, the tail. He has a stripe, black stripe, the registration here. Basically, that's it. That's Elon Musk's plane.
And, you know, we tried to get Mind to do this livery, but he was like, no, I'll just splooge everywhere.
It was to
what?
the point where we had to put the project on hold.
Yeah, we had to put the project on hold.
We did. Really did.
Yeah.
It was an unfortunate time.
Next up is November 188 Whiskey Romeo, owned by the Wynn Resorts Group. This one flies out of Las Vegas a lot, so I get to see this one pretty frequently. The horizontal stabilizers are painted black with black stripes, and there's a black stripe down the livery, black belly, and the registration with a stripe on the tail. Or, excuse me, the engine. Next up, we have another Las Vegas livery. We have the MGM Resort Group livery. They have this livery painted on all of their aircraft that they have, so that's pretty cool. Just a golder linings down the fuselage and onto the tail with the registration November 721 Mike. And then the winglets are also painted.
So anyways, guys, our next livery is November 777 Zulu Hotel, owned by Private Air. They own this G650ER. So anyways, it's a gray livery accented by some orange. I like this livery. It looks really clean. Basically, a swoop starts from the front. It gets really thin, which is why we use buttons, which is fine. I mean, it shows it's a thin line and stuff, but it gets a little bit thicker here. Back to thin, it starts to get thicker, and then it comes back, and then swoops all the way back up the tail. You have your registration on the engines accented by like an orange stripe on the front and orange winglets. Interior is the same. You have your overwing exit stuff on the wings, and then yeah, that's basically it. Our next livery is November 650 Zulu X-Ray Alpha, owned by Saudi Aramco Aviation. It's another G650ER, of course. It's a blue and gray livery. when you have your main tail design, which is a thick blue line and a thick gray line. Once it gets to the fuselage, though, it changes. The gray morphs into like the blue, and the blue morphs into like into a bunch of stripes, which is what you have going on right here. You have your registration right here. Your winglets have blue stripes, like the same as the fuselage, and that's 650 XP Alpha.
Next up, we have November 305 Charlie Charlie, owned by Carnival Cruise LLC or whatever their name is. They have a red and blue stripes that go down and up the fuselage. Cargo door right there. Goes up the engines. And then we have their little flag logo on the tail right there. And red and blue striped winglets swooping up on the winglet. That's pretty cool. And yeah. Next up, we have November 6 Delta. It's a pretty interesting livery. It's got a small black lining that goes down the fuselage and turns into this cool design. The black turns up, and then there's a gray disc surrounding this bit here. Next up, we have November 1 Papa Golf. It's a pretty basic livery, just a blue underbelly, gear door, blue winglet, oak or a yellowish stripes going up the tail with a white midsection registration right there. And yeah.
So our next livery is number 1 Alpha Lima. It's a simple livery, has a couple blue stripes, different colors, different shades of blue, with a bit of gray on the rear, as you can see here. You have your 3 separate shades. You have your blue or light blue, dark blue, and your gray line. Your registration number 1 Alpha Lima. It swoops up a little bit at the front. Just the light blue does though, and it ends up right there. Your winglets are the exact same. Basically, you have your light blue and your dark blue, and that's 1 Alpha Lima. Our next livery is number 16 Sierra Alpha. Pretty basic livery. Has it's a black livery that has gold or gold brown outlines and linings to it. Basically, your upper fuselage is black. We did have to improvise with the windows because it kind of looks weird when the whole entire livery is black and you don't see the windows. So that's why we made these brown and had the white lining, white stuff here, so you could visualize where the windows were. You have your gold outline that fades to a very thin gold line. Your registration on the engine, of course. Your little gold stripe, brown stripe here that fades into like a darker shade, and your black winglet. Our next livery is number 302 Tango Romeo. It's the exact same livery as the house livery, which is why Taxuit said it's basically based off of the livery I did. He just changed it. It's basically the same as the house livery, except on the tail there's some silver stars, and on the fuselage there are also some silver stars. So yeah, it was interesting making the black line kind of fade with the windows and stuff. So that was a tricky thing to do. But yeah, that's 302 Tango Romeo.
Moving on, we have number 312 Alpha Tango. This is owned by the Bank of Utah trustee. I personally did this livery, and I'm very proud of the outcome of this. The lines were a bit more challenging, especially for me, but I really do like the mixture of blue and gray into this livery. It personally is one of my favorites.
Next up, we have November 313 Alpha Golf, which is one of our first liveries that has a painted wing, which is pretty interesting. Pretty much an all-gray livery, and it has a cool little red logo on the tail. Registration here, of course. Gray winglets, gray wing, gray pylons. Pretty much all gray with the red logo on the tail right there. Next up, we have November 333 Golf Whiskey. All blue livery with a couple gray linings going down the fuselage. Nice blue wing, blue winglet here. And same with the pylons, also blue. And I do believe the horizontal stabilizers are painted blue, but I could be wrong. Registration right here with a gray lining going up the engine. Next up, we have November 400J. Pretty similar to that one that we saw just a little bit ago. Just the same kind of color scheme going down the fuselage. Registration right there. And then a little blue line going down the tail here. Blue gear doors. And then here's the winglet there.
Our next livery is November 500 Sierra Alpha. Very simple livery. The majority of the main fuselage is a gray type of texture here, which is what we replicated here. It does swoop up by the end, very little. The whole entire tail is gray, and as well as the majority of the winglets are gray. You have your nose, or not your nose, you have your registration on the engines as usual. Yeah, that's 500 Sierra Alpha. Our next livery is November 516 Papa Lima, which is a direct copy of, or a direct copy of number 1 Alpha Lima. Basically, the exact same exact same livery, just a different registration, and that's that. Our next livery is November 518 Kilo Alpha. The livery was made by Blue and I. It's a very interesting livery. Instead of a white fuselage, it's a very slightly gray fuselage. It has dark gray lines that accent it, that go onto the tail from the fuselage. Half of the main fuselage is covered fully gray that swoops up to the main to part of it. The very top section of the tail is colored gray, and you have your engine registration with a very slightly gray tint to it. So that's that livery.
Here we have November 555 Golf Alpha. This livery was made by, or attempted by Mute, and then I saw that Blue had this livery and I just copied and pasted it. So you'll see this livery again a little bit later. But blue lining, it's got a blue and gray lining that should go down the tail, but the lines on the livery are too small to replicate in Minecraft. So blue and gray linings down the fuselage and then swoop up onto the empennage here. And then we have a blue and gray lining on the tail. Registration right here, and then our winglets follow the same, pretty much the same design that are on the tail.
Our next livery is November 650 Echo Hotel. Livery made by me. It's a very simple livery. The lower fuselage is colored completely blue, and it swoops down a little bit, and then swoops back up to enclose the back portion of the tail. The back portion of the tail is accented by a little bit of gold lining. You have your registration on the usual. Your winglets are a slight blue line. That is basically it for this livery.
Moving on, we have November 667 Hotel Sierra, owned by H&S Ventures LLC. As you can see, the lines are very wavy on this one with a gray, orange, and slightly brownish yellow, almost merging into gold. And it runs throughout the length of the fuselage in a wave-like pattern.
Yep.
Moving on, we have November 700 Hotel Mike Kilo, 700 Mike Kilo. The whole entire plane is golden with a black stripe running through the center of the fuselage. You have your engine registration, and you have a gold design on the tail.
It's their logo. I don't know what it says, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a logo basically. The wings are covered in a gold brown, like the fuselage is. Your winglets are once again the same color with a black stripe in the center of it. So yeah, that is 700 Mike Kilo.
Here we have a very interesting livery, November 709 Delta Sierra. It's a pretty neat livery. We have a black lining that goes down the fuselage, and then it does an S kind of shape here, and it goes back up onto the tail. We have this same kind of design on the engine here. We have blue and red linings that go up the tail. Excuse me. Same kind of design on the winglets here. Then a blue underbelly, gear doors, and yeah, pretty interesting livery.
Next livery is November 827 Delta Charlie. Very simple livery. It has a black and gray fuselage. As you can see with the lower center of the fuselage, it is a black and gray line that we replicated. It swoops up to accompany, or to not accompany, but to form into the main tail design. Right here, you have your engine registration, white wings like normal, and your winglets are designed the same way as the fuselage is. So that's this livery.
Next up, we have 828 Charlie, another pretty basic livery. We have a gray lining that goes down the center of the fuselage, and then a black lining that follows it up. Blue registration, we have a stripe on the winglet right here, and then just a couple of stripes that are crisscrossing each other on the tail with a blue top here.
Our next livery is November 858 Charlie Golf. Very simple livery. It is a gray livery. As you can see on the fuselage, you can see a very opaque and basic gray underbelly, underside, half. The tail design is two different shades of gray. They're both lines that kind of swoop into each other there. So yeah, you have your engine registration and a winglet design that is similar to the one on the tail.
Next up, we have November 912 Golf, resident of Las Vegas. I do believe that this is for a casino owner, but I'm not too sure. So we have orange underbelly that swoops up to the tail, and a gold lining that also swoops up, and then a orange lining that follows it down. And then we have a orange, yellow and orange on the winglet here that swoop up on the winglet. Yep, that was English.
Continuing on, this is November 917 Charlie. This is, I believe, to be owned by a leasing company, and as you can see, it has a multitude of different lines running through the fuselage, ranging around yellow and blue. It continues onto the tail with multiple strokes of yellow and blue on the fuselage.
Our next livery is November 950 Charlie Mike. Very simple livery. The underside of the fuselage is blue, which is swooping up to the rear tail cone of the aircraft. This line is outlined by a very small red line, which is too small to make in Minecraft. The top of our tail is blue, accompanied by that same red line, which is once again too small to make in Minecraft. The registration is red to match the same red stripe that we would see on the real aircraft. The winglets are the exact same design as there would be on any of the fuselage sections, which is a blue line accompanied by a very small, minuscule red line.
Okay, moving on, this is November 998 Papa Bravo. This is once again owned by the Bank of Utah trustee, and as you can see, it's a very basic livery with a two lines, one gray and one red, running up through the fuselage and up into the tail. This is November 828 Sierra Mike. I do not know the operators as I cannot find them, but as you can see, there is a brown round area. I can't figure out the wording for how to describe it, but a gold stripe runs along the fuselage, merging in from this brown area into a gray-like consistency, and then back to gold, and then it runs up through the tail. Continuing on, this is November 1454 Hotel. This is just once again a basic livery, overrunning a green stripe going through the windows and continue on to the fuselage with a green registration on the engines.
Our next livery is our last United States registered aircraft in this showcase, November 2702, a very military looking aircraft. Very gray it's a gray fuselage, gray wings, and gray winglets. The registration is on the tail, and the engines are accented by blue stripe on the engines. That is 2702. Our next livery is our first foreign registration, Victor Papa Bravo Alpha Oscar Tango. It's a basic livery, but also has some nice design to it. The lower fuselage is gray, accompanied by light gray stripes above it. The tail is similar to the fuselage, except inverted. The top of the design is dark gray, with the bottom being light gray stripes. White wings, you have your engine registration, then you have your winglets that are designed the same as the fuselage is.
Next up, we have VP Bravo X-Ray Bravo, painted by Mute. Another simple livery. It's just black and gray lining going down the fuselage, and the registration on the tail, and that's pretty much it. Once again, painted by Mute paper.
We have Victor Quebec Bravo Alpha Hotel. This is just another almost simple like livery.
God, we say these liveries are simple when they're not blue.
But they are.
Christ!
Okay, continuing on, we have Victor
Dude, just get. Oh my God!
Okay, as you can see, it's just a blue line running across the fuselage that merges into the tail with the logo, and hey, I really like being submitted. And we have just a random gray line in here, along with a logo for the company that owns this aircraft. Along with this, we have Victor Papa Charlie Whiskey, which almost looks like something out of a painting, with the strokes of green running across the fuselage and merging into the tail. Really interesting livery because it really does remind me of a painting, but that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Next up, we have a very interesting livery. We have a very interesting livery if you haven't seen any already, because they were all stupid, simple, and plain. Next up, we have Victor Papa - Charlie Juliet. It has like a light turquoise blue sky, and get this, penguins painted on the aircraft here. So we have one penguin there, another penguin there, and another penguin there. Pretty interesting. We have a blue or turquoise winglet for the top portion of the winglet, and then the registration right there, as always.
Next up is Victor Papa Charlie Lima Hotel, livery created by Taxiway. It is a livery that has 3 black stripes, all forming from the nose of the fuselage. The main design being the middle, which leads all the way to the rear of the aircraft. You have your registration on the tail of the aircraft right here. The upper part of the tail is colored black. The engines are designed similarly to the fuselage. You have your white wings and white winglets. Our next livery is Victor Papa Charlie Golf Papa. White fuselage. You have your gold engines. Your gold registration, I mean. Your winglets have one single gold stripe running through them. The tail is the logo of the company who owns the aircraft. White wings, and that's it for this livery.
Alright, next up we have a very livery. Victor Papa, Charlie Kilo Lima, just a black and yellow line running up all the way through the fuselage and onto the tail, almost like a, and then the...
Oh yeah. So this black lining here is actually supposed to be gray, but due to the texture pack limitations, it's black. So yeah.
Due to the quarantine.
Due to the quarantine pataphrome of the binomial quadratic angles,
We are now all colorblind.
Yeah. Shut up, mute. I mean, who are you? You're blue. Registration, winglets. Alright, next one. Here we have Victor Papa dash Charlie Zulu Zulu. It's just a gray kind of like center thing. That's what they say in America. But this is like, this area is cut out here. So like I was saying, it's just a gray stripe through the fuselage with sections of it painted out white. Registration, that's pretty much it.
Next we have X-Ray Alpha Oscar Lima Echo. This is, I believe, a Italian registration.
It's a Mexican registration.
Mexican registration. And as you can see, it has a interesting tail with, squiggly lines on it. And just like other Gulfstreams, it has very curvy lines.
So anyways, guys, our next livery is Mike Hotel Sierra Charlie Zulu, a livery owned, an aircraft owned by Edward Gaming International, which consists of a black and gray paint scheme, the underside of the fuselage, which is black accompanied by a gray striped line. On the tail, it's a bit different than the others. It has the same design of the fuselage, just inverted with their logo on the tail. The engine consists of the registration, and the winglets are a single black stripe with a gray striped outline of it, like the fuselage. So that's this livery.
Next up, we have Mike Juliet Sierra Whiskey Bravo. This is similar to various other liveries with a red nose, along with a red line running throughout the fuselage and continuing through the engines and onto the tail. Once again, this is very similar to other liveries and a very nice livery indeed.
Our next livery is Mike Papa Lima Uniform Sierra. Simple livery. It's just a light gray fuselage with a carbon fiber-like design on the engines and the tail. The wings are gray, as well as the winglets. Your registration is found on the engine. That's basically it for this livery.
Here we have a very pleasant livery to look at. We have Y gig, as they would say in the industry. Pretty interesting livery. Gray, green, across the fuselage, black tail, registration, flag right there, with black winglets. And that pretty much does it.
Our next livery is Gulf Sierra Victor India, owned by Executive Jet Charter. It's a pretty neat livery, simple at best. Its unique characteristic is that only the door section is colored in a dark gray color. Everything else is the same, white fuselage. You have your registration on the tail, or on the correction on the engines, and then you have their logo on the tail of the aircraft. So that does it for this livery.
Here we have 2-Kilo Yankees Charlie Mike. This livery is similar to November 6D that we saw earlier. It's just the only difference is the color. So we have red that slowly turns into a dark purple, and then comes up around here, and then here we have the yellow disc registration, and that's about it.
Moving along, we have two Gulf Juliet Alpha. This is once again a very unique livery with multiple lines running across the fuselage and continuing onto the tail.
Here we have Hotel Bravo dash Juliet Kilo Papa, registered in Switzerland. Blue stripe going across the fuselage, registration there. We have a gold lining and a blue lining that goes up the tail. I believe it's a lightning strike, could be wrong. Then we have the Swiss flag on the tail right there. And then a blue stripe on the winglet.
Moving along, we have Tango 7 Alpha Zulu Golf. This is a quite exquisite livery in my mind, as it has a very nice stripe to it, but it's very similar to other liveries.
Yeah, this livery we saw earlier.
But once again, running around with blue and several other various colors running throughout the fuselage.
Here we have Qatar Executive, registered Alpha 7 Charlie Golf Bravo. This livery was made by pretty much everyone, Miles, Mateo, and I think maybe even Blue. It says Qatar Executive on the front right here, has purple winglet, excuse me, and then you have the classic logo on the tail with the gray stripes behind it.
Moving along, we have Alpha 6 Mike Alpha Foxtrot. Very simplistic livery with just a white stripe running along the aircraft and continuing on through the tail cone and also along with the engines. Once again, very simplistic, but very nice.
Here we have Korean Air's Gulfstream. This is their private jet livery that they have on their PJs. Blue winglet, underbelly that stretches onto the tail, and a cream-like color that goes on the fuselage. The Korean logo on the front right here, and the flag, the South Korean flag on the tail right there with the registration. The aircraft is registered Hotel Lima 8068.
Our next livery we have is Bravo 2977. It has a thin black stripe that continues all the way to the fuselage and leads up to the tail, which merges into a second black stripe that accompanies it up in the tail section. You have the logo of the company that owns it. You have a thin black stripe that comes on the winglet. And then you have your registration on the engine.
Next, we have Bravo 3288, very red livery, with it running across the fuselage, almost covering it entirely, and multiple red strokes across the tail. Once again, very red-like livery. Continuing on from that one, we have Bravo 3726. Once again, one of my proudest liveries, as I think my proudest part was the pirate ship as their logo of this company, along with the stripe throughout the front half of the aircraft, along with the name, and along with the winglets being colored in the same exact logo as the tail.
Here we have Bravo 603 Romeo. Pretty basic livery, you could say. Gray lining that goes across the fuselage, and then it splits into two different colors of blue towards the aft section here, and then the same blue colors on the winglet. Next up, we have Bravo 56789. Again, another simple livery. Blue lining goes across the fuselage, splits into gray, and then those blue stripes split off here. Registration right there, and a cool design here on the engine. And same deal for the winglets.
Next up, we have Bravo Lima Hotel Kilo. This is a very simplistic livery, once again, with just gray and white, mainly the white having a line running across the fuselage and onto the tail, with the gray accompanying it.
And for our final livery today, we have 9 Mike Tango Mike Juliet in all black livery, black winglets, horizontal stabilizer, pylons, engines, you name it. We have the logo on the tail right here, and a white registration with the Malaysian flag, I want to say. Could be wrong on that. So, that's going to do it for the Gulfstream video today. This will probably be, I mean, you'll see some more business jets in the future, but with the server opening and everything, it probably won't be for a while, but you'll still see some stuff. Big thank you to Miles and not Mateo for making this whole thing a lot more difficult than it needs to be. I like how my chunks are not loading. But that's going to do it. We'll see you in another one.
See ya.